Well, fifth graders, I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas break. I wanted to start off the first video when we come back from our 2 week vacation with a review. I didn't want to jump into I think it's 7.9 or 7.10. I'm not sure. I can't quite remember. Anyways, I want to back up quite a ways, and we're just going to do a few problems, and I'm going to turn this into an ed puzzle. So let's look at some problems here. So the first couple problems I want to do is adding and subtracting decimals. So if I wrote down something like, how about 23.6 plus, how about 1.5 plus 467.2 plus 0.15. Okay, how would you do that problem? Okay, so there's your very first one. Now, when you add or subtract decimals, remember the main thing is to line them up. Line up the decimals. So let's look. I'm going to put down 23.6. And then we have a 1.5, 1.5. Look how the decimals are lined up. And then we have a 467.2, so I'll put the 4 over here, the 67.2. See how I'm keeping the decimals lined up? Then we have a 0.15, okay? And then we're adding. That's all we have to do. Notice that the consideration I've given the place value for everything. So, for example, this 5 right here, that's in the tenths place. And sure enough, you look right here, it's in the tenths place with this 6, which is also in the tenths place, and this 2, which is in the tenths place, and this 1 that's in the tenths place. And then we have one number, this 5, that's in the hundredths place. It's going to be right here, okay? And then we have what? We have a 3 right here. That's in the ones place. And then we have a 1, which is in the ones place. Then we have a 7, which is in the ones place. And then we have some numbers that are in the tens, not tenths, but the tens. Because this 2, what's the value of this 2? That value of that 2 is 20. And that's in the tens place. What's the value of this 6? That's going to be 60. That's also in the tens place. All right? So anyways, back to the actual problem here. You just add them up. So the 5 comes straight down. There isn't anything else we're adding to that. Then we have a 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 5 is 8, and 8 and 6 is 14. Put down the 4. Carry the 1. 7 plus 3 is 10, plus 2 more is 12. So I'm going to put down the 2, and I'm going to put that decimal. The decimal goes straight down. And then I'm going to add a 1 there. 6 plus 3 is 9, and then a 4. That's the answer you should have had. 492.45. That is the answer to number 1. So let's do another one, and we will do some subtraction. All right. So number 2, what if I wrote down the number, well, let's take 492, what we just came up with, 492.45, and I'm subtracting, how about 1.04? What's the answer to that one? Okay, so hopefully, again, you lined up the decimals. When you're adding and subtracting decimals, you always line them up. So I'm going to put the 1, this 1 right here, I'm going to put that underneath the 1s here and line up the decimals, and then 0, 4. And we're subtracting. 4 from 5 is going to be 1. 0 from 4 stays the same as 4. I'm going to put down the decimal. 1 from 2 is 1, and then 4, 9. Hopefully that's the answer you came up with. 491.41. So that's the second problem in the ed puzzle I'll put up. Let's see here. Multiplying and dividing decimals. All right. So let's just take 23.2, and I'm going to multiply that by 2.46. I'm going to multiply those two numbers together. This is number 3 here. All right. Notice something here. Notice I didn't line up the decimals. That's because when you're multiplying and dividing, you don't need to. You could just take this number, these two numbers here, and you could write them down without the decimals and multiply and get your answers. Well, let's so go ahead and do that problem. And okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to do this. Let's take a look at it. So what's 6 times 2? That's 12. Put down the 2, carry the 1. What's 6 times 3? That's 18, plus 1 more is 19. Put down the 9, carry the 1. What's 6 times 2? That's 12, plus 1 more is 13. All right. Now remember, when you're multiplying numbers, each time you drop a line, you move in 1. So I'm going to move in 1. I'm not going to, the first number that I write down is not going to be underneath the 2. It's going to be underneath the 9. Because I'm no longer multiplying this number up top by the hundredths place. I'm now multiplying it by the tenths place. Anyway, so 4 times 2 is what? 8. 4 times 3 is 12. Put down the 2, carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. All right. Not done. Another number. Now we're going to move in another place. Okay. So the next number is going to go underneath the 3 and the 2 here. So what's 2 times 2? That's 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 again is 4. All right. Now we just add them up. Come straight down. 2, 9 and 8 is 17. Put down the 7, carry the 1. 4 plus 2 is 6. Plus 3 more is 9. Plus 1 is 10. Put down the 0, carry the 1. Whoops. Is it still recording? I hope. Yes, good. 9 plus 1 is 10. Plus another 1 is 11. Plus 6 is 17. Put down the 7, carry the 1. And we have a 5. Now what? Okay, well, look. How many decimal places do we have to concern ourselves with? 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to start right here to the far right. I'm going to move in 3 places. 1, 2, 3. So the decimal is going to go right here. So there's your answer, 57.072. So that's multiplying with decimals. You could just go ahead and multiply it like you normally would, and then account for the decimals. Just to make sure each line that you drop down, you're also moving in 1. All right. How about dividing by decimals? So let's see here. Let me move this up a little bit. Give myself a little more room. How about, let's see here. 18, all right, being divided by 1.2. Okay. So you cannot divide a number by another number that has a decimal. You have to get rid of that decimal. And I know we've talked about that before. So we're going to move this over 1, and whatever we do on the outside, we got to do on the inside. So the decimal for 18 is right there. Every whole number, the decimal's on the far right side. So I'm just going to take this decimal here, and I'm going to move it over 1. And so I'm going to add a 0. So now the decimal is right there. All right. So how many times does 12 go into 18? Goes in once. I'm going to put down the 12 and I'm going to subtract. And I'm going to put down a 6. 2 from 8 is 6. What do? We bring down the 0. Okay. How many times does 12 go into 60? Well, do you know your multiplication chart yet? 12 plus 12, that's 24. How about another 12? What's that? Now 36. How about another 12? That's going to be 48. If we add another 12, what's it going to end up being? That's going to be 60. How many 12s was that? So we have 1, 2, 3. Actually, 36 would be 3. 4, so 5. And it goes in evenly. Nothing left over. Where's the decimal go? Goes straight up. All right. So that's your answer to, it's 15. Just 15. That was for number 4. All right. Let me move this up a little bit more. Let's do a couple adding and subtracting fractions. What if I asked you guys to add 1/7 plus 3/7 plus 2/7? What would you do? Well, that's pretty easy because this is number 1, 2, 3, 4. This is number 5. Got to keep track of these because I know I'm turning this into an Ed puzzle. This is number 5. What's the answer to that one? Okay, so you should know that since they all have the same common denominator, that you just add the tops. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 2 more is 6. The answer is 6/7. Now, what if that's adding fractions with the same common denominator. What if they don't have the same common denominator? Let's look at number 6 here. What if I wrote something like, how about 1/2 plus 3/8? All right, so let's set this up. Here's 1/2, here's 3/8. We can't add any fractions until they have the same common denominator, the same denominator. So we need to come up with a number that both 2 and 8 will go into evenly. I think it should be pretty obvious to everybody. It would be 8. 8 goes into 8 once, and 1 times 3 is 3, so that would stay the same. 2 goes into 8 4 times, and 4 times 1 is 4. Now what? They have the same common denominator, just like all these 7s. Okay? They both now have 8, so just add the top. 3 and 4 is 7. So the answer to this problem is 7/8. How about subtracting? Number 7. How about subtracting decimals? Well, I won't worry about one that would have the same common denominator because then you would just subtract the numerators. So how about if I have 7/8 and I'm subtracting, I'm going to subtract 1/2. What's the answer to that one? Well, let's set it up here. 7/8 and I'm subtracting 1/2. I still need a common denominator. What's it going to be? Should be pretty obvious. It's 8. So this stays the same. It's going to be 7/8. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 1 times 4 is 4. Now what do? I just subtract. I subtract the 4 from the 7. I'm subtracting the numerators. So the answer is what? 3. 4 from 7 is 3/8. That's the answer to number 7. Let's see here. Number 7. Let's do a couple more. Number 8. Okay, so multiplying fractions. And I can't, when I'm kind of drawing a blank if we've done those yet. Maybe not. I might be ahead of the game, but I'll show you now anyways. So if I wanted to multiply 1/4 times 1/2, it's pretty easy. You know what I do? I multiply straight across. Okay? What's 1 times 1? 1. What's 4 times 2? 8. There's your answer. 1/8. All right, let's do another one. And actually, I won't even ask you about that one. But do this one now. How about, let's see here. 5/6 times 1/4. We'll call, I said that was number 8, but I'm going to scratch that one out. This will be number 8. Everybody do that one. Now you know how to multiply fractions. How easy was that? What's the answer to it? Okay, well, you should have multiplied 5 times 1, which is 5, and 4 times 6, which is what? 24. 5/24, so that's the answer to number 8. How about dividing by fractions? Do you guys know how to do that? I don't think you do. I'm going to show you right now. Let's do 1/2 being divided by 1/4. All right. Actually, this won't be number 9. I'm just going to show you how to do one first. All right. So the first rule is to change it from multiplication, from division to multiplication, and then you flip the second decimal. So that becomes 1/2. That doesn't change. We change it from division to multiplication, and we flip the 1/4. So that becomes, when I say flip it, I mean the 4 goes on top and the 1 goes on the bottom. And now all you do is multiply. What's 1 times 4? That's 4. What's 2 times 1? That's 2. So we have 4 over 2. Notice we have something here where the denominator is smaller than the numerator. How many times does 2 go into 4? It goes in twice with nothing left over. So that's the answer. All right, how about another one? How about 4/5 divided by, how about something like 1/3? And this will be number 9. I want you guys to do that one. See if you can do it. Give it a shot. Okay, so what's the first rule? The 4/5 doesn't change. The first fraction doesn't change at all. Then what? Then we change the sign to multiplication. Then what? Then we flip the second decimal. So that becomes 3 over 1. What's 4 times 3? That's 12. What's 5 times 1? That's 5. How many times does 5 go into 12? It goes in 2 times. What's left over? Well, 5 times 2 is 10, with 2 left over, 2/5. That was a hard one, since I just showed that to you guys. All right. Let's do one more. We'll make it an even 10. 10 problems. Let's just do a multiplication one. How about 6/7 times 1/3. Okay, do that one. Okay, so it's multiplication. We don't need to change anything. We're just multiplying straight across. 6 times 1 is what? 6. 7 times 3 is what? 21. Can that be reduced? Is there a number that will go into 6 evenly and 21 evenly? Yeah, I think there is. 3 goes into 6 twice. 3 goes into 21 7 times. So the final answer would be 2/7. Okay, that's it. I think that was mostly review, although there may have been a couple new concepts. So I'm going to end this video and turn this into an Edpuzzle. And I will see you guys Monday.